All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a story that completely redefines how we understand the animals we share our lives with. Picture a classic American scene. You've got a peaceful local lake, crisp morning air, and a loyal golden retriever named Cooper. Now, for most of us, this is just a perfect picture of domestic tranquility. But as we're about to see, Cooper wasn't at this lake to play fetch or just enjoy the breeze. He was actually keeping a very specific and honestly, very peculiar daily vigil.
You know how it is, right? We see our pets doing something goofy, and it's so easy for us to dismiss it. Cooper's owner thought, totally understandably by the way, that his dog was just watching the ducks. We project our own simple explanations onto them all the time, completely unaware of the profound intuition that might be at play. Because the reality, which literally nobody knew at the time, was that Cooper was actually waiting for a rescue.
Section 1. The Dog Who Stared.
Okay, so this wasn't just a one-off event. Day 1, Cooper walks to the exact same spot near the water and just stares into the distance. Week 2, the exact same thing. And guys, this went on for nearly a month. Every single morning, the exact same routine. I really want you to think about the sheer, unmoving dedication of a dog staring out into the distance day after day for almost 30 days. We know animals thrive on routine, sure, but this level of singular, unbreakable focus, that's something entirely different. The whole situation is captured perfectly by his owner, who said he wouldn't move. It was as if he was waiting for something. I mean, put yourself in the owner's shoes for a second. You're calling your dog to come back from the shoreline, you're whistling, maybe rattling a leash, and he just flat out refuses to answer. For a golden retriever, a breed literally known for wanting to please, to ignore those calls completely, it's a real head-scratcher. Something incredibly powerful was keeping Cooper glued to that shoreline. And then, well, that calm vigil is about to turn incredibly urgent.
Section 2. Into the freezing water. Boom! One cold morning, everything changes in this frantic sequence of actions. First, Cooper starts barking, completely breaking a month of silence. Second, he's running erratically along the shoreline. Third, he stops dead in his tracks and stares intensely into the water. And finally, number 4, he just jumps right in. It's this rapid-fire escalation that completely throws his owner off guard.
So, you gotta ask yourself, why did Cooper finally jump? His owner is panicking now, running after him along the water's edge. But as the owner watches, this terrifying realization sets in. Cooper isn't just swimming randomly. He's not chasing a duck. He is heading straight, with absolute purpose, towards something out there in the frigid water. He plunges into the freezing lake, and then he just disappears beneath the surface. Imagine those tense, agonizing seconds for the owner standing on the shore. The water is freezing cold. The dog is completely out of sight. The clock is ticking in total silence as the icy water just swallows him up. Section 3. The Pink Backpack Discovery. When Cooper finally breaches the surface and paddles back to shore, his owner pulls a small pink backpack from his mouth. And here is what they find inside. A child's name tag. And a photograph. Just let that chilling realization slowly wash over you for a second. This wasn't just a piece of trash he fetched from the lake bottom. This backpack belonged to a child. The name on the tag, it was Emily. At this point, the owner immediately dials 911. The puzzle pieces violently snap together here. Emily was a child who had actually gone missing near this exact lake several days earlier. Search teams and first responders had already combed this area. They had looked literally everywhere and found absolutely no sign of her. Nothing. Until this very moment, when Cooper dragged that backpack out of the depths.
Section 4. Rescue in the Woods.
Now, logic would dictate that if the backpack was in the water, the search teams should obviously focus on the water, right? Well, Cooper wasn't done. He didn't lead the newly arrived rescue teams to the shoreline. Instead, he suddenly pivoted and ran toward a wooded trail beside the lake, leading local law enforcement away from the water and deep into the dense surrounding woods. He was totally taking charge of the situation. The first responders follow him deep inside the trees. The noise of the sirens fades out. The crunch of boots on the trail stops. And then, echoing faintly through the trees, they hear it. A whisper. Help. And there she was, deep inside the woods, far from where anyone even thought to look. They found Emily. She was incredibly cold, utterly exhausted, and absolutely terrified. But she was alive. It was this emotional, near-miraculous discovery that simply would not have happened if it weren't for this dog leading the way. And this brings us to the real emotional climax of our story. When Emily sees the first responders and she sees Cooper, she reaches out and wraps her arms around the golden retriever's neck, and she whispers directly to him, "You found me."
Cooper simply wagged his tail in response, and suddenly the whole shebang made total sense. That month-long vigil at the lake, standing in the crisp air, refusing to answer his owner's calls, staring out into the water. It was never about the ducks. Cooper knew. Somehow, possessing an intuition we can barely even begin to comprehend, he knew someone was out there. He knew someone was still waiting to be found, and he absolutely refused to leave his post until he could bring them home. Which leaves us with a huge final question. Are we truly paying attention